Tonight on Grady Newsource.
Several University of Georgia students are receiving rabies vaccinations after bats were found inside an off-campus apartment.
Health officials say the shots are precautionary and are urging anyone who may have been exposed to seek care.
Reporter Brady Ladbush has more.
An Athens man is under arrest after a road rage incident in Madison County turned violent.
Deputies say the situation escalated into a shooting. The suspect is now facing charges.
Cade Johnson is following this story.
And the King holds court in Madison County until the end of April. The 4F Renaissance Festival is offering a weekend of entertainment, food, and medieval traditions. Reporter Eli Henderson has more.
Catch all of these stories and more tonight on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Hunter Jones.
And I'm Jack Little.
A road rage incident turned violent in Madison County this Saturday, leading to a shooting and multiple charges. Reporter Cade Johnson is live from Kimberly Circle and US Highway 29, where the incident occurred.
Hunter, I'm standing where Madison County Sheriff's Office says a road rage incident turned into a shooting between two men. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is taking a look into what happened here.
It is a very straightforward incident of self-defense, and he's had every right to do what he did.
Investigators say the incident started around noon Saturday when Ernest Howard began brake checking another vehicle on US Highway 29. Officials say the two drivers then stopped on the corner of Kimberly Circle, leading to a physical altercation. An off-duty GBI agent driving by saw the fight and stepped in, drawing his weapon after seeing a gun involved.
My job there was to make sure that everybody who needed resources got those resources, that we got our investigators, that we got in touch with the GBI, that we got in touch with all the witnesses.
Investigators say Howard drove away from the scene before stopping in Clark County and calling 911 from a nearby bank. ACCPD officers quickly responded while eating lunch nearby. Captain Baird said 47-year-old Howard was shot in the hand during the incident and later arrested. Shots were fired by both the other driver and the off-duty GBI officer.
We're still trying to determine for sure whose bullet struck Mr. Howard's hand. We're not 100% sure which person it was that hit him.
Howard is being held at the Madison County Jail facing multiple charges, including cruelty to children, after investigators say a teenage girl was inside the other driver's car during the incident. Officials say the other man involved is not expected to face charges as his actions are considered self-defense. The GBI says they could not provide additional comments since it's an ongoing investigation. The GBI says that when the case is complete, it'll be turned over to the district attorney. We'll be following this case when more information is made available. For Grady Newsource, I'm Cade Johnson.
Thanks, Cade. Bats have made themselves known in an off-campus apartment over the past few months and have raised serious health concerns for residents. Grady Newsource reporter Amelia Durden has more.
I'd love bats, but I don't want them. You don't need them in your house. I don't want them in my house.
3 University of Georgia students have gone through several rounds of rabies treatments after finding bats in their off-campus apartment. Dr. Stephen Castleberry, a certified wildlife biologist and professor at UGA, has researched bats extensively.
Bats can have rabies, and that is the concern. It's, I think there's also the misperception that every bat has rabies, which is certainly not the case, but you don't want to take any chances. Rabies is, basically 100% fatal disease, and you never want to take any chances with that.
The roommates found the first bat in January this year. They found 2 more in late March and moved into a hotel. The students reported the bats to apartment maintenance. The bats were removed but not tested for disease. The apartment complex issued a statement on the situation, saying in part, they learned about the bats, sent members of their maintenance crew to remove them, and called a specialist to find where the bats may have entered from. They also offered reimbursement for the UGA students' hotel stay. Bats can carry diseases, but they still play an important role in the environment. Bats are pollinators and eat beetles, moths, and mosquitoes. In 2018, Kristen Lear led a group of 3 other PhD students in a project called Build It and They Will Come to build bat houses around the Athens area. Bat houses serve as a place for bats to stay in their natural habitat away from humans. There are 2 bat houses located right behind the apartment building where the bats were found, and there's 2 more within walking distance. Bat infestations like this have been reported across Georgia this year. St. Mary's Elementary School in Camden County, Georgia, recently had around 200 bats removed from the school over the course of around 3 weeks.
They don't need much to enter. That's another thing we found out. They about the size of a quarter a bat can get through, and once they're in, they're going to make that their home.
The St. Mary's community largely embraced the efforts made to clean up the school. Some community members were even calling to change the school's mascot from a shark to a bat. For Grady Newsource, I'm Amelia Durden.
The deadline to file federal income taxes is April 15th, but the UGA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program can help. VITA offers tax preparations for Georgia taxpayers and is student-operated. University of Georgia students are IRS certified and provide free tax assistance to all community members. Appointments can be made online, but walk-ins are also accepted Monday through Friday through the end of tax season.
Audits uncovered a major breach in Commerce City School System's bank accounts. Over $100,000 allegedly stolen by a former employee. Grady Newsource reporter Sonia Sutkavich is live at the Commerce City School System Board of Education to explain what we know about the investigation and how it has left the community feeling.
Thanks, Jack. I'm here at the Commerce City School System Board of Education, which is the former location of Catherine Smith's employment. Smith turned herself into the Jackson County Jail on March 23rd and is now facing 4 felony counts of theft and 1 of identity fraud.
That kind of money just don't go up missing, so I definitely think that she should be held accountable and the school as well. Because how do you go this long, 4 years, without noticing?
Community members were shocked to find out that Smith, who is married to Commerce High School Principal Will Smith, was faced with charges for stealing school funds and for how long it was going on.
The superintendent confirms that the irregularities occurred between fiscal year 2021 and 2024 and involved federal, state, and booster club funds.
With them being a Title I schooling, is to help bridge gaps and have resources for students that may not be as privileged and just to bridge those gaps in education. So I think that should be investigated as well and just looked into further.
The superintendent said in a statement to the public that the employee, who held many roles like bookkeeping during her employment, had not been employed by the school system for 2 years. Moving forward, the superintendent says the school system has strengthened its security of their finances.
Smith is facing felony charges, and the school system says that they are working to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again. But parents are left with questions about how this loss of money will impact their children's education long term. Live from Commerce, I'm Sonia Sutkavich. Anchors, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sonia. People have been over the moon since Artemis II launched last Wednesday. After the break, we'll hear the latest updates.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Are you tired of changing your clocks every few months? In a follow-up to a story we brought to you last week, reporter Brady Ladbush is live in the studio with an updated decision on whether or not Georgia will adopt daylight savings time year-round.
Thanks, Jack. The Sunshine Protection Act, which would have made Georgia permanently follow daylight savings time, has failed. The Georgia House chose not to vote on the bill before the legislative session ended with sine die early Friday morning. All bills that die in the House can be brought back the next session, so it's possible we may see this bill resurface.
Some Georgia undergraduates may be eligible for up to $3,000 a year in a new needs-based scholarship program. Grady Newsource reporter Gabrielle Cutsup has more.
University of Georgia graduates owe a median federal student loan debt of $18,500, excluding Parent Plus loans.
Trying to anticipate how much I'll make once I start my career, and I'm like, okay, I want to pay $1,000 to my loans every month so I can pay it off as soon as possible. I don't want to have to worry about it or have it to pitball into something bigger than it needs to be.
A new state-funded scholarship could help lower this debt. Georgia Representative Stacey Evans was a sponsor on House Bill 1413, the original bill for establishing the scholarship.
I bounced so many checks to get through college. It was month to month, week to week, whether I was going to be able to stay, and that stress is real, and our students feel it today.
The need-based DREAM scholarship would give up to $3,000 per academic year to undergraduate Georgia residents attending public colleges. It will be available in the fall. Governor Kemp allotted $325 million to fund the program in the state budget.
I was like, that would be a great help, because honestly, with something like that, I probably wouldn't have to take out any loans my senior year, which would be helpful.
The original bill was tabled during session, but came back as Senate Bill 556, which passed the legislature and awaits Kemp's signature. The program was established by the University System of Georgia Foundation last year, but will now receive state funding. To qualify, students must show unmet financial need, be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours per semester, and have a minimum 2.0 GPA. If awarded, students would need to take a financial literacy course and work paid or unpaid part-time. I'm Gabrielle Cutsup, Grady Newsource.
Yesterday, the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. This comes after weeks of conflict that sent gas and fertilizer prices soaring. And while relief could be on the way, many don't realize just how widespread the impact really is. Grady Newsource reporter Parker McCollum tells us more.
Shocked by your gas and grocery bills? Turns out those prices aren't the only things skyrocketing right now. The ongoing war with Iran is driving up prices on everything from fuel to fertilizer. According to AgWeb, the cost of urea, a widely used fertilizer amongst farmers across the U.S., has increased 25% since the end of February. This comes at the worst time as farmers prepare for spring planting. While higher gas prices may be a recent concern for consumers, the agricultural industry says the financial strain has been mounting for years.
It's not one particular event. It's a culmination of a lot of different events that have really started pushing ag to the brink, especially in Georgia and other states.
That growing pressure is backed up by the numbers. Data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture show farm expenses climbing year after year as events like the pandemic and global conflicts continue to drive up costs. But for the organic farmers of Athens, increased prices are not as impactful as lower inputs means lower cost.
Regenerative farming is the way to go, and it is exponentially far cheaper. What inputs do I need? Seed and nature.
But increasing gas prices are also impacting farmers' equipment, which needs to be fueled up just like any car. To help offset these high prices, Governor Kemp signed a bill at the end of March suspending the state's gas tax for 60 days, saving Georgians around $400 million. So, while temporary relief helps, the bigger picture is coming into focus, one where global conflict, local farms, and your grocery bill are much more connected than you might think. For Grady Newsource, I'm Parker McCollum.
New images are giving us a view like never before. After venturing farther than any humans in history, NASA's Artemis II crew captured stunning images of the moon's far side, revealing new craters, a rare Earth set, and even a solar eclipse. But now their 10-day journey is coming to a close, with splashdown set for Friday night off the coast of California.
Well, Hunter, it's time to tee up our next segment. When we come back, we'll have ESPN's Mayan Patel with a Masters breakdown you don't want to miss.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me. First night here, but Amy seems cool. Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see. What do you think? I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back. An Athens resident won $1 million from a scratch-off ticket last week. The ticket was purchased at a Citgo Food Market on Monroe Highway in Winder and cashed on Thursday night. The winner is choosing to remain anonymous and opted for a lump sum, taking home over $800,000 in cash.
Life-changing money there, Hunter. With the Masters coming up this weekend, Georgia's on the minds of golf fans everywhere. Grady alum and host for PGA Tour Live on ESPN Plus, Mayan Patel, joins Grady Newsource's Jack Cooney to break down the field.
Thanks, Jack. We've got Mayan joining us here from Knoxville. Thanks for being here, Mayan.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting.
Absolutely. So the red and black, they're going to be all over the place this year. 5 former UGA golfers teeing off at this year's Masters. Brian Harmon, Harris English, Sepp Straka, and Russell Henley. And of course, the only guy to win it, and he did it twice, Bubba Watson. What former Bulldog do you think has the best shot at making a run at the jacket this year?
Well, Jack, I think despite Bubba Watson's 2 green jackets, I don't know that he'll add another to his wardrobe this week. I think you've got an interesting collection of players representing the University of Georgia there. Harris English certainly is a trendy pick. He's fared well before at the Masters. But one name that I'm looking at out of that bunch you mentioned is Russell Henley this week. He's a top 10 player in the world. He's won a couple of big events, especially last season in a golf course down in Orlando that played semi-similar to how Augusta National Golf Club will play this week. The weather forecast looks incredible in Augusta this week, and so that means it should be firm and fast, and at a place where Russell Henley's lack of length is usually a disadvantage, I think that speed and the firmness of the fairways and the greens will actually help him keep up a little bit in that distance equation, and he is an elite ball striker and iron player. So if his putting can hold on strong as well, which it has throughout the course of his lengthy career now, I think Russell Henley out of that bunch of Bulldogs can certainly make a big charge.
No doubt. And no matter the performance of the 5, we've got a 6th Bulldog joining us soon as U.S. Amateur winner Mason Howell, at only 18 years old, joins the fray. What do you think we'll expect to see from him as he got a pairing of a couple greats, Rory McIlroy and Cam Young?
Well, Jack, I hope first and foremost that he just has a lot of fun and gets to enjoy this week and all that comes along with it. You certainly expect Mason Howell to play in more Masters as he turns professional and his career goes on, but I would say soak it all in each and every moment. I'm sure he already has as the week has gone on. You mentioned his success, the U.S. Amateur. He's the 3rd youngest player to ever win that historic event, and he did it out of the Olympic Club, which is a tough golf course out in California outside of San Francisco. So he's got the game, certainly all the tools in his toolbox, but I think a made cut this week would be huge if he could somehow, card the low amateur status and be in Butler Cabin on Sunday next to the winner. That would be a massive, massive accomplishment. But if I'm Mason Howell, I don't tie myself to any huge expectations. I think the first round, you for sure just want to go out and learn as much as you can with Rory McIlroy, who's going to have all the eyeballs in the world after finally
clinching the career Grand Slam here a year ago. And Cameron Young, who is a very trendy pick to win and very well could be the one slipping on the green jacket later this week, one of the best players in the world right now. So for Mason Howell to get a front row seat to that, to see how your game stacks up to those world-class players, number 2 and number 3 in the world, any tee time on Saturday and beyond, certainly I would view as a mega success.
No doubt. So as far as the field as a whole, who is your favorite to take the jacket this year? Will Scotty climb back to the mountain? Will Rory defend his title? What are your thoughts?
A lot of great storylines, Jack, and I think that's what's always exciting about the Masters is that come that second night on Sunday, there are usually 4 or 5 names that are in contention, and you get to Amen Corner and some of the holes that follow right afterwards, some big pivot points in the tournament without knowing what's necessarily going to happen. I'm going to go with the guy that I mentioned a few moments ago, playing alongside Rory McIlroy and the Georgia commit Mason Howell, Cameron Young. I think Cameron Young, who is one of the favorites coming into the week, he won the Players' Championship, which is a mega win in its own right, is playing the best golf in his career. He qualified for the Ryder Cup to represent the United States in his home state of New York last September and fared very well in that big-time environment. I expect Ludvig Åberg, the young Swedish superstar, to have a good week as well. But at the end of the week, Sunday evening, I think Rory McIlroy puts that green jacket on Cameron Young, the Masters winner.
Absolutely, Mayan. Thank you. Myself, I'll be keeping an eye on Åberg as well. He's a guy that I think will be able to make a run. Thank you for joining us, Mayan. We really appreciate your time. Back to you guys at the desk.
After 2 terms in office, Mayor Kelly Girtz will pass the torch to the next mayor in. Grady Newsource reporter Alex Arwood sat down with Kelly Girtz to discuss the past 8 years.
Athens will get a new mayor in December. Mayor Kelly Girtz will step down from office as his role as mayor, a title that he has held for the past 8 years. There are 5 candidates vying for Girtz's seat: Maria Zuniga, Lakeisha Gant, Dexter Fisher, Sharon Miller, and Tim Denson.
You know, whoever is elected mayor, which will probably be in June in the runoff, you know, I want to do as supportive and graceful a job as I can do in ushering them into the role.
Girtz has seen a lot in 8 years.
It's unfortunate to see great things happen around housing access and around sort of outdoor and recreational spaces. I mean, certainly, you know, was mayor through some challenging and traumatic times.
According to the Athens-Clarke County government website, he passed the Affordable Housing Investment Strategy in October of 2023. Although Girtz was successful in allocating funds for housing, the affordable housing crisis still remains throughout the Athens community. May 19th is election day for a new mayor in Athens with a potential runoff in June. Grady Newsource will be bringing you updates through the mayoral debates this week. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Alex Arwood.
Up next, we'll travel back in time to the medieval era, or maybe just a couple miles down the road to Madison County.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Crowns, costumes, and a little bit of magic. That's what you'll find at the 4F Renaissance Festival in Madison County. But behind the event is a story of resilience and building something bigger than fantasy. Reporter Eli Henderson shows us how one man turned imagination into community.
In a quiet stretch of woods just outside of Danielsville, a king holds court.
You feel like you've experienced something. You're not just another number, or you're not just passing your dollar or your coinage off just to grab something.
His audience calls him King Lumius, but beyond the crown, he's Ace Callahan, a man who built a kingdom in his backyard. After a life-changing event, he and his family decided to start their own Renaissance fair.
Me, myself, I went down in 2019 with 5 massive heart attacks. I have 18 stents in my heart. They told me June 24th of 2019 I had 24 months to live if I didn't get a heart transplant.
Now tucked between the trees, people can expect plenty of fantasy. Fire breathers, blacksmiths, elves, and even dragons. The 4F Renaissance, signifying family, fun, fantasy, and festival, has it all. And it's not just the questing and the pyrotechnics that draw a crowd. For the 4F Renaissance Festival, It's more about family and creating a sense of community amongst the people that are here. The path to establishing a new Renaissance Festival was a difficult journey, taking 4 years until they were able to host the first fair.
First one was a bit rocky, as anything you do the first time off is, it's very scary, but we enjoyed it.
Every tent holds something handmade. Every character, a piece of someone's imagination. Vendors selling craft goods and trinkets that take hours of hard work to craft.
These are really fun to make, but I don't have as many of them because they are the longest thing it takes to make, and they take at least 7 hours.
But something that can't be sold at a novelty shop is Ace's pride for his festival.
That's what it's about, to brighten someone's life just a little bit, because the old world we live in is getting gloomier and gloomier day by day. And if we can brighten it up just a little bit, give somebody a little spark, that's what it's about.
While the festival might not draw large crowds, lead to a profit, or always run smoothly, there's an immaterial feeling of family and friendship. And for King Lumius, that's more than enough. For Grady Newsource, I'm Eli Henderson.
The festival runs till the end of April in Madison County.
A local group is showing how the best part of a spring run on a warm day might just be the friendships formed along the way. Blakely Hollingshead from our partner organization Sports Source takes us inside the Slow Girl Run Club, where the goal isn't speed, it's community.
It's 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday in Athens. For most, it's the quietest hour of the week. But outside Jittery Joe's, the energy is already humming. This isn't a race, and there are no medals waiting at the end. In fact, running is actually secondary.
It's never been about running. I tell that to everyone, it's not about running. It's the vessel. The goal is to make friends, and it's working.
Victoria Van Linden founded Slow Girl Run Club in 2022. After moving from Atlanta to Athens, she found herself craving deeper connections. The focus on friendship over fitness has created a space where the typical pressure to perform, or the fear of falling behind, simply doesn't exist.
Everyone is so supportive and no one's really judgmental while you're here. And I think that that's really important, especially in a run club, because sometimes you can often compare yourself to other people when you're in fitness clubs and stuff like that. But I never feel like I'm falling short. I always feel uplifted.
That lack of judgment is baked into the club's DNA. From their Running Buddy program, which pairs newcomers with veteran members, to their slow and steady still finishes the race motto, the focus remains on accessibility. Van Linden even insists on keeping the club entirely free.
All of it is free. I don't want anybody to ever feel pressured to come to somewhere and spend money and feel like they have to commit to something monetarily, because that's not access.
With the financial barriers removed, Van Linden says the only thing left to do is take that first step.
Just start. It doesn't matter. Just start. Go on a walk. Just go outside or go on the track, go on the treadmill. Just move, because that's where it starts. You never know until you try. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I think a lot of people are scared of not being perfect. I was not perfect, and I still am not perfect as a runner. I am a very mid runner, and I'm cool with that. I don't need to be the fastest.
A fantastic package from our director, Blakely Hollingshead. She's up there in the studio. Blakely, fantastic job. She did that for Sports Source, and we threw it in here on Grady Newsource. That's all for tonight. Follow us on our socials at Grady Newsource.
And catch us again next week at 5. I'm Hunter Jones.
And I'm Jack Little. Good night.
score, we're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
Okay, so we know we have a lot of viewers on our post-show critique. We don't want to let them down, so we're going to get going. We do, a lot of parents. So we have, yes, there we go. Okay, so game ball, we had a lot of votes, but we had an overwhelming vote for one person. So we have from the votes, I'm going to name everyone: Connor, Sonia, Megan, Victoria, Parker, Eli. There are probably many more coming in right now, but unanimous, I hope she looks up, for Megan. Megan was our TV show producer for this one. Megan created a workflow that we haven't had that was incredible. It helped all of us, really did a great job. So thank you, Megan, that was awesome. And for our tech team, well, how am I going to do this? I think he's back here. I think he's back here working the audio. Owen. And we also have Blakely, we got you. So thank you all for your hard work. Blakely did not like the back to her shot. No, Owen, what did you say? You said, Owen, where is it? Take it. What are you doing? So it was amazing. Good teamwork, everyone. And anchors, great job tossing to that. Everyone did such a great job. Our anchors also had honorable mentions here. So without further ado, she's lovingly called Professor V here, CNN international anchor, and so much more. Why don't you tell, because not everyone has had you in this class, just tell them a little bit about yourself, and then she also teaches Newsource, and Sydney's sitting there beaming here. Tell us about yourself, your career, all you've done, and then we'll get into the post-show critique. But I really want you to talk about your career and all the wonderful things you've done.
Happens. I'm dating myself here, but I was graduating English language and literature in my native country. You can tell that I have an accent, Bulgaria. And I was graduating at the time when Eastern Europe was opening up to the West. And that was the end of the Cold War. You've probably heard about the Cold War. And the story that I was covering, which was the fall of communism and the big political and economic changes that were happening in my country, they were sometimes very painful, because the economies collapsed, people were suffering, and there was a huge interest in the West, and specifically in the United States, and a little cable company that could, CNN, in that story. And the American journalists, the Western journalists, didn't know the story the way I knew the story. I didn't know their story because we had been divided. And Professor Asman can tell you, we both grew up in that system. We were divided by an iron curtain, you and I. Okay, you were in the U.S.? Okay, long story. But anyway, Ted Turner, who was the founder of CNN, you've probably heard about him, he's a Georgia native, decided that he was going to create a show called World Report on CNN and give each country in the world 2 minutes to present a story in English. And I got chosen to do those stories, and that captured the attention of the producer of the show, of other producers at CNN. They invited me for an internship. Never say no to an internship. You never know what happens. So I came. I was picked out of a group of international journalists just like me to co-anchor the show. And I went and I told the CNN producer, I am a reporter. I don't know how to anchor. And she said, no, I've seen your stand-ups. You'll be fine. So I borrowed clothes because Bulgaria's economy had collapsed. I didn't have anchor clothes like I have right now. This is Sydney's favorite jacket of mine. And so that was my debut as an anchor. And I went back to Bulgaria. I continued to report for CNN in English and for the Bulgarian audience in Bulgarian. Bulgarian TV was really impressed. They wanted me to do prime news. I said, the fact that I did a recorded show on CNN, even though it was CNN, doesn't mean I know how to anchor. And they thought I was crazy. But I knew, when you know that you'll fall on your face, you're not ready for something, I was brave enough to just kind of say no, but they still gave me, 10-minute lunch news. I started learning how to do that. In Bulgarian TV, you do your own rundown, you write your own leads, you work with you're sort of the producer, you work with your reporters. And so I learned how to do that. And a year passed and I got a call from CNN, something that had never happened before, asking somebody from the other side of that iron curtain to become a CNN anchor. And they said, we just, that hasn't been done. We just have a 1-year contract for you. We can guarantee you 1 year. So I said, 1 year, I'll learn a lot and I'll go back to Bulgaria, because the most meaningful work that I've done, some of the most meaningful work, is really help Bulgaria build a free media, freedom of the press. And it wasn't easy. I had to let go of my own fears, because we had grown up with so much fear and any lack of freedom of the press. So I, just thought I'll come back and I'll bring this experience and we can make Bulgarian TV even better. This year was coming to an end and they offered a 3-year contract, and then they kept offering until it became 23 years. So it became a full career working for CNN International, which is still a channel. If you travel overseas, many of you probably have traveled, or some of you, the CNN program that you would watch is a little bit different. It has people, international people with accents like me. It has a little bit more international news. Still uses the same reporters that CNN uses, but in a different way. And so, that's, again, never say no, even if you, when a CNN producer tells you you can anchor, just anchor. And, but if you're not ready for something, you really feel it in your gut, you're going to fall on your face, wait a little bit so you build enough experience. Your gut feeling never is more or less leads you in the right direction. If a story doesn't feel right in your gut, check the fact again. Usually something is off. So that is my story. After CNN, I did 3 years in Chicago working for a startup. I was working for a startup. You're the news director, you're the anchor, you're the reporter, you plan the 2016 presidential election coverage, whatever you have to do. I learned a lot, but you know the biggest thing I learned, and I was talking to Dr. Asma, how privileged I was to work for a name brand like CNN, where people would beg you, would ask you, and Dr. Duck, you know that as well. People would approach us and they would ask us, you know, please, you know, I would love to be interviewed, because it was very prestigious. And then I'm working for this startup, and I'm calling, and I'm used to, you know, this is Relitza Vasilova, and I'd like to interview the mayor of Chicago. And they say, who do you work for? I said, BITV. And they said, who's that? And it's like, sorry, the mayor of Chicago does not have time. We're very sorry, you know. And I said, well, you know, I can wait. And I kept in touch with his PR person. And I think after 3 months of me asking for that interview, she felt sorry for me. So she said, you know what, I cannot get you the mayor, but I know you want him on immigration policy, because that was the big thing. The startup was an immigrant startup. And so people were very interested in the mayor's, Rahm Emanuel. He had a very interesting immigration policy. She said, I can't get you the mayor, but I can get you a dreamer, an undocumented immigrant who came here as a child. You know, dreamers? They were brought here as children, and they were given special status even though their parents were undocumented. And so he's willing to talk on camera, because at that time we had the immigration issue was huge. We had the campaign, as I mentioned, the 2015 campaign. No, it was the 2016 campaign, President Trump's first campaign, in which the immigration issue was his major issue. And so I had a person who was not afraid to speak on camera. And he gave me this extraordinary interview, and I ended up asking him, so if you could speak to President Trump, what would you tell him? And he said, I would ask him to meet with me, and, you know, for us to figure out a way how we can work with this. I am a student. I am contributing to this country, and I want him to see me. I want to talk to him. And it was just so powerful. I ended up doing not a 2-minute story. I did a half-hour special around that interview. So you never know. When a door closes, something else opens. So I could present Rahm Emanuel's point of view. I could do it, you know, with B-roll and a stand-up, anything, you know. But getting that human, and I saw in all of your stories, most of your stories had that human. I was really proud of everything I saw. But anyway, back to just, I'm going to end it here, because I really want to talk about your work, which really impressed me. And so after that, I got a job working as a content creator in Denmark for a sustainability think tank founded by a journalist who was really frustrated that we journalists were not doing justice to one of the biggest stories of our time, climate change and the environment, and that we could do it with storytelling. And then I was in Denmark, and I got this email. I'd even forgotten that I applied for this job. UGA is like, would you come for 2 days for an interview? And I said, yeah, sure, but I'm in Copenhagen. And they flew me from Copenhagen. My mentor said, I think they're really interested. And so I interviewed, Dr. Duck knows the process, and Dr. Asman, 2 days, speed dating, everybody has to vote for you. So I got the job. That was about 6 years ago, and I haven't looked back. I think teaching students is, next to what I did in Bulgaria in my initial years when I was about where you are, this is the most meaningful job that we can do, because we have an ability to help you, who are the future of this country, of this world, build skills that you will be able to inform people in ways that are credible, creative. What I'm seeing with you, lots of facts, lots of depth in your reporting, but also a lot of creativity, because that's what we need. We need to give people facts, but also we are competing against content creators, influencers. We have to be interesting. And so that in a nutshell is my experience, but I really want to say how impressed I was with all of your work. I mentioned the depth of reporting. I liked the way, Megan, the way the show was stacked. I don't like this word stacked, but the rundown was built. And love the ending, and it showed the camaraderie that you all have, where, you know, we ended up, you know, embarrassing Blakely, but she truly deserved it. That was an excellent package, and it was an excellent way. The anchors did a great job. I could tell you were genuine. You enjoyed that moment too. I wish I saw you more in a wide shot together, and I loved how you reacted to the, I believe it was, what is the time change? Which one? I have to look at my, you had a reaction. What? To that, oh. Yes, the lottery. Yes, the lottery. And it was so well written. You know, started with the money. When you have a lottery story, absolutely you start with the money because that grabs people's attention. And I wish the two of you could have been in the same, we could have had a two-shot, although I really like the close-ups because we kind of had a more intimate view of you. But in that sense, in that situation, I would have shown an interaction between the two of you. But the show, again, everything was just wonderful. These are just two things that could add to the show when we see, people like to see the anchors interacting. And the two of you were very comfortable in front of the camera. You looked great. You presented things. You knew your stuff. I could tell you had practiced. None of you skipped a beat. It was very professional and confident. Keep up the good work. And the producer was also cool as a cucumber. She had 2 live shots, not 1 or 2. And also the tech team. Let me embarrass Blakely again. But it was a very, very smooth show. Nice open with very compelling clips, especially the one with the rabies thing was really ouchy. But that's what it takes to draw in the viewers. We don't want to be sensational, but, you know, this is a serious story. You know, rabies is a serious illness. So love the live shot. If I go, how much time do I have? I spoke too much about myself. I'm sorry. The first live shot, it's always great to start with a live shot. That's a very good choice. Kate did a great job. I just want to share with you one trick of the trade, so to speak. When you have a story that happened like a few days ago and it's not today, you can say, like in this case, you can say the GBI is still investigating this, and this. And so you give this story a today angle, right? The investigation is still going on. 3 days ago, this is what happened. So this is just a little, maybe you know that as well, how you could actually show people that. Good job, guys. That's sort of, this story is still fresh, and you're talking about it. So it's a little trick of the trade I wanted to share with you. Also, that was a really hard story to visualize because it's about a crime that happened, and we don't have B-roll of it. We have to be very sensitive. We can't just show random people, right? Because we are implying that they are involved in some way. And so in this case, I wanted to share another trick of the trade. What you could do, and I really liked, there was a lot of creativity with showing, this is showing the street, the name of the street where this happened, and we could exactly see the street. And I would use a stand-up there. You know, this is where this happened, this is where they got into an altercation. I'm making this up, right? This is the place, a demo, what we call a demo stand-up, which demonstrates where something happened. So just sharing another option, although you guys are so creative with all the options that you played around in your packages. Rabies, again, who did the rabies? And your name? Amelia. Very strong. I don't know where you got that footage of the actual rabies, the bat.
The bats, we actually got that footage from the girls who found the bats in their apartment. They sent it to us. Snapchat video footage.
Excellent. That really made the piece. Yeah, you guys did a great job. And what again, I love sustainability. I love the fact that you tied it to a broader issue about bats and about those bat houses. You introduced a solution in a story that's about health, that's kind of, it can be yucky and very kind of sensational. And you gave us that kind of yuckiness, and you added that depth about the bat houses. That's, I love sustainability, and I love that. It was so creative and, very, very impressive, very, very impressive. And all of the stories had something like that, very impressive. The Commerce Live, very well done. And your name again, I think I wrote it down.
Oh, it's Sonia?
Sonia, yeah. You were very, again, cool as a cucumber. Yes, you did a great job. And that was a very serious story, and you had the right tone, and you had a great source to talk about it. It was a,
She went to the high school. She
yeah,
lived near the
yeah,
area.
and she was very emotional, and that really humanized the story. I love the graphic you used, and we know with graphics where there are too many words, when you pull out and highlight what you're talking about, it makes it easier for people to actually understand. Because when there are too many words, it's like you're distracted by, when am I going to read that? Oh, it's over. Okay. So really, really good use of that. With the savings time update, I like that. I would just have, again, used the trick of the trade, somehow tied it to today, because that was a few days ago, and just think about whether there's something the legislature is considering, maybe bringing that issue again in during the next legislative, something forward-looking maybe, if possible, or get a reaction from somebody, or add something, a little reporting to the story. I'm just kind of, this is just overboard, but just giving you different ways in which you could do that. And then we had the student loan debt. Gabby, very well done. It was so nice to see both you and Blakely. I know them from being the SPMs last semester, and now just to see them flourishing and doing such beautiful packages is really, really a treat. I'm embarrassed you third time. I owe you. It was just a great to get the student, great graphic also. That was not an easy story to visualize, and you were showing feet and walking feet and trying to visualize, very nicely done. The Iran fertilizer, another, who did that? Parker did that story? Yeah, the three of you. Very well done. Again, international stories and sustainability. And, but it was very well done, very well localized. It really showed in a farming state like Georgia the impact of this faraway war. And I love the way you contrasted going from the peaceful farms to the war footage. Very well done. Yes, two great sources. I loved the way, and I was going to suggest to the rest of you, to when you're shooting interviews, if you go a little bit closer, it creates a more intimate feel, and that's what you guys had. I like the fact that all the people who had interviewed, you'd framed them a little bit closer. I like that very much. You had an expert and you had a farmer. Again, the human, all of you, Gabby, you too. And that was a very, very strong piece. And that was, Megan, I was just thinking as a producer, if I was producing the show, that would have been something I would have considered. It was a today kind of story, because yesterday, President Trump said that he would end civilization in Iran, and it was such, I mean, the whole world exhaled yesterday when that didn't happen. So something to consider. Again, I love the fact that you started with a live shot. That's a very good decision. But sometimes you could consider starting with something that everybody's talking about. It's still the top news. If you turn, I was, watching a lot of, international and local, and everybody's talking about that because it was unprecedented to get to such a high degree of pressure and international pressure. And so that's one option you could have had. I don't think you should do that, but I'm just giving you little things to think about and options. That's what I love about producing. It's so interesting. You play like with a puzzle, and you have so many options, and sometimes you can't even make a decision because there's so many options. But starting with a live shot, you can never go wrong with that. But that was one option you could consider, because it affects a lot of people. Sometimes I ask myself, when you're a producer, how many people does this story, which I love and I want to be my top story, affect compared to this story, which I also love, and I can't make a decision? Sometimes that helps you. How many people does it affect? And it seems like the fertilizer issue affects quite a lot of people in Northeast Georgia because we are a farmer state. But I'm not saying you should have done that. There's so many options, and you did a great job in, I don't want to use the word stacking the show, but ordering the show flow. Yeah. Lottery, again, I told you guys, great writing, all your leads. They're very well written and very well delivered. Who writes the leads? I used to have the MMJs writing the leads. Yeah, very well written. Some of them started with a question. They drew me in, all of them. They drew me in. I like the fact that you broke up the pacing with an interview, the Masters, instead of just lead package. So you had the live shots, an interview. Interview was very well done. I don't know much about sports, honestly, but it looked very interesting to me. I liked the reaction at the end of the interview from the reporter. It was Jack? Yes. I like the fact that you added something personal at the end, and I really like that. And you were also very relaxed. It's not easy to do a Zoom interview because you're not seeing the person, and so you were animated, and you did a great job with that. Kelly Gertz. Megan, I don't know, what was your thinking about Kelly Gertz? That's a huge get, newsmaker. And you're thinking of putting him after the Master. Did he come after the Masters? Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. So we knew Alex had that interview, but we weren't exactly sure what the angle was going to be.
Alex?
I know that it was like the end of his term, but we just like weren't entirely sure. Definitely if you think otherwise, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a great get, to get a newsmaker like that. And I just wrapping up his, how many, 8 years, 8 years he has shaped what, and you tried, in the short time you had, you really gave us an idea of what he has done, affordable housing, and it's not easy to wrap 8 years of somebody's career. And I like the fact that you brought up current things that people are talking about, affordability, housing, to tell us what his role was. And so, yeah, that was a great get, and it was a great idea to do this in the first place. And you ended and you gave us some more context about who was running and what was coming next. So I thought that was an important piece, and again, it's just me. Hindsight is 20/20, but again, you had so much strong content. You had too much of a good thing to think about. But that was it was very well done, and the fact that you got the mayor, and that was important and it impacted quite a lot of people. 120,000 or more people live in Athens, and you as well. We've been impacted by, and also having who's running, and Madison Festival, that was so well done. That was Eli, yeah, I remember your verticals also. Was not surprised. Just so heartwarming. And I like you used whether you knew it or not, the so-called reveal, because you did not tell us immediately about his heart problem. So we were really interested in him. I mean, really quite a character. And then you revealed something even more serious about him. And I thought it was very well done, very creative, and you had fun with it. You also had a vendor. All of you had many different viewpoints in your stories, which I really, really like. It's a great writing, inspired. I also like the depth in most of your pieces, in all of your pieces, the depth that you also talked about the challenges, that it wasn't just about the fun and games, but you also talked about the challenges they had. And you said, even if a lot of people don't show up, it still is about community. And I like the nuanced look at it. An excellent ending. I really, really love the show, and I wish you the best. Keep up the good work. Dr. Duck, you've done an amazing job. I know how difficult it is in just a few months to build this kind of quality. And thank you for inviting me.
Well, and I shadowed her all semester lessons. So it's really Professor B who's done all this. Thank you so much for coming. I think we're probably off the air by now. I always ask you, Andrew, I'm like, are the mics still hot?